Hi, everyone. In today's episode of Scouting for Growth, we are thrilled to welcome a tech pioneer whose name echoes robustly with software engineering. Michele Cimmino, CEO of Lasting Dynamics, is joining us today. Michele has imprinted the tech landscapes of Spain, Italy, and Norway with his spirit. Lasting Dynamics, far from being a generic software firm, epitomises precision and coding to partners' distinctive needs in order to ensure an exclusive synergy for mutual benefit. A blend of hard work, relentless dedication, and an insatiable appetite for innovation accentuates Michele's journey. Think about Agile, OKRs, Scrum, TDD, and Shuhari principles. Those are not mere buzzwords, but reflective of his continuous quest for knowledge. As we venture into the heart of today's discussion on agile transformation, with relevant case studies for finance and insurance, Michele's diverse tech repertoire promises to illuminate us with his insights. So, what makes Michele's journey compelling? Well, we will dive into 4 key points. 1, becoming a visionary leader at Lasting Dynamics was not easy. Steering a company that is not just another name in software, but a boutique powerhouse that tailors code to partners' unique needs, partnering with only an exclusive few each year for mutual growth, is really commendable. Championing quality and innovation is number 2. Not just embracing, but mastering and driving methodology, like I said, Agile, OKRs, and TDD was very important for Michele. This quest for knowledge propels him and his team to always stay ahead of the tech curve. Then 3, ensuring a diverse tech mastery, whether it is about navigating the world of AI-driven mobile apps or pioneering growth hacking strategies since 2019, actually. Michele's tech stack is both expansive and profoundly impressive. And 4, it's about building a global force in the startup or tech ecosystem. Not confined to his CEO role, Michele's influence spans as an advisor and shareholder across Europe, showcasing his unwavering commitment to hard work and achieving tangible outcomes. So as we delve deeply into today's conversation, we will explore the secrets behind his impressive growth, the art of managing vendors across multiple time zones, and ensuring top-notch quality assurance, amongst many other subjects. So let's the exploration begin. Prepare yourself for an invigorating deep dive into a discussion full of insights with Michele Cimmino. Hi, Michele.
Hello, Sabine. Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, and you? How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here today to talk about agile transformation. So before we go into that, Michele, let's get into understanding who you are. Who are you?
Okay. Yeah, well, I would say that I am the owner of Lasting Dynamics Group, and that is a group made of several companies. Started from the idea that we wanted to provide the IT market with the quality, an alternative to the many cheap solution providers that were on the market in 2013 and unfortunately still are, I would say. So we started from that. And then actually Lasting Dynamics now is not only a software house, but also is a group that includes real estate and an educational branch, and made of academies, majorly academies. And yeah, so I'm myself a software engineer, and I started this company, as I just said, in 2013. In 2015, it became already an SRL, that is the Italian equivalent for LLC. And then in 2020, we became a multinational by opening also in Spain and Norway. And in 2022, we arrived to Dubai. Yes, and so yeah, that's the long story short, I would say.
Impressive, Michele. And actually, before going to the meat of our discussion, I'd love for you to tell us, what is that challenge you just mentioned? You've seen there was a major challenge in product development, product design, and technology alignment. And so what challenge were you trying to address?
Okay. Can sound simple or easy, but actually most of the issues that we encountered with the customers were related to the misalignment between their thoughts and what actually was delivered to them. Okay, so communication is definitely a challenge, but a software engineering describes very carefully what is the process to understand the requirements, collect them, analyze them, and then start the execution, breaking down into smaller pieces and following probably agile methodologies or any other kind of methodology. And you would probably be surprised by knowing that 70% of our customers came to us after failing with another software house, with another team. So we quickly became the alternative to those that either wanted to restart in a better way, or eventually arrived to a point in which they really needed a good software development team that could make them scale, and grow. So the challenges, coming back to the point, are majorly around the idea that there are a lot of companies on the market that unfortunately still do not follow a totally transparent process of development, and sometimes they arrive to deliver something that is not really what the customer needs. And so I would describe it this way. Yeah.
That's super cool. And, the reason why I wanted to ask you that question is because, yes, when you look at business and technology, and now we're in this digital world, this overlap between business and technology is becoming much more blurred, if I can say it that way. We've seen generative AI now. You can use AI in the business office. You understand what those models really can deliver. And finally, people understand what the data scientists and engineers have been working on for many years. And actually being able to reduce the gaps between those two, part of those two teams within the business is critical. Which takes me to one of your key projects, actually, Michele. You have helped one of your big customers to achieve in a very short time period the ability to activate over 1 million active users, right? So can we delve a little bit into the strategies that you have seen instrumental in achieving the level of rapid adoption with that specific client, please?
Okay, so achieving 1 million active users is not easy for startups, and
I know,
not
indeed.
easy for small, medium enterprises, but it's definitely easier for large enterprises. Okay, and what is the reason? It's because they have a lot of data already there. It's stored somewhere. The problem is that eventually they don't have the right process in terms of funnel, or they do not have the right digital products on the market to make sure that those data can become something for the enterprise. And generally speaking, coming back to this experience that we earlier discussed, one of the problems, in my opinion, of the execution in these large enterprises is the time. They usually target a span of 12 months to deliver an MVP, but an MVP, minimum viable product, itself cannot hit the market 12 months after being designed. It's too late, generally speaking. So from a tech perspective, an MVP should be launched within 4-6 months maximum, in my opinion, and that allows, from a business point of view, to collect feedback faster, avoid the waste of budget in directions that eventually are not even that valuable, and then learn from the empirical experience of the data that is collected and the usage that is made of the application, so that they can be expanded. Sometimes these larger enterprises have some static processes that make the agile, mindset becoming something hybrid with the old waterfall methodology. Okay, regardless, the execution is agile. If you have let's say penetration testing process that lasts 2 months, you are already impacting somehow the deliverables. So that can be one of the first points. Another point is that I truly believe that if we want to stay in the insurance and even banking and probably other sectors, industries, the customer experience is everything. Okay, Steve Jobs, thought us that actually we should start from the problem and then arrive to analyze the technology to solve that problem, and not really look at the technology we have on the table and say, okay, I have a bit of blockchain, a bit of AI, and a bit of quantum computer. How can we market it? No, this is not the right way. So if you use an insurance application or a banking app, probably the user experience is very, very cold. You use it for a few minutes just to do whatever you need, and then you close it. You are not engaged to the application. There is nothing more that you can do on that, and probably you do not have a will to discover more about it. So transforming this experience, in my opinion, is one of the keys to succeed. And this is what happened in this project. And that's why probably they quickly, arrived to 6 million downloads and 1 million active users.
So what you were saying, Michele, is very, very interesting to me, because, when you think at finance of insurance, one things we actually learn a lot is we need to be iterative. We need to do test and learn. We need to actually make sure the products are there to be tested by our customers, so that we can actually grow and scale those products, rather than putting something that no one wants after 12 months. And, in insurance, we've done, and we've seen that a lot because of regulation. Often insurers says to me that we cannot put half of a product to market. We need to put a full product. And so that takes me to your insight and views as to how you see and foresee the future of technology in finance, and how have you experienced corporations, big and small, and the ability to put new product to market, new MVP to market, while balancing, that innovation stringent requirements, which are regulatory often, constrained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, well, I would start from mentioning that what you described is the lean cycle. Okay, that probably goes across all the agile methodologies. If you think about feature-driven development, it somehow moves pretty much in the same way. If you think about the growth process, I was a couple of years ago very inspired by the growth process in HubSpot. So how they do it is actually genius. I loved it, and we learned from them. The idea was to find experiments that could help the team achieving the growth. And these experiments were putting into some pretty scientific, I would say, format, following some steps and having a template so that all the teammates among the team could work in the same direction. And then the execution helped them collecting data and arriving to a binary decision. Is this interesting? And we need to understand more. So how many other experiments we can design in order to understand that? Or no, let's close it and move on, And that kind of, so if you think about a higher level about all these cycles across the agile methodologies, it's the way you develop software, the way you create digital products nowadays. There is no other way, to do that in a proficient way. So the challenge is majorly now for the large enterprises to adapt to that. And it's not easy. I do understand that. And the reason is majorly because they have giant teams. They have a lot of employees that are working in several departments. I personally saw, the madness of coordinating different departments that, have a different expertise area and have also reduced visibility on what the others are doing among the same company. So big companies like Accenture or Sunrise started to adopt scaled agile frameworks such as Safe Scrum, for example, and that helped them innovating, the process, but at the same time being compliant with all the regulations. For example, in Lasting Dynamics, we are ISO 27001 certified. And we do know we have been helping a lot of US customers becoming PCI compliant from level 1 to 3. We are aware and we follow the rules of HIPAA, that is pretty much the protection for sensitive patients' health information. And when you have such of a legal tech experience or even a small department in your company that understands the matter, and on the other end, on the ground, you have good engineers that understand the practices about cybersecurity when it comes to every domain, front end, DevOps, back end, then it is easier to be eventually compliant with this policy, because when you build something ground up or start integrating the pieces into a digital product, you with a forward-looking mindset, you can definitely already place everything in a way that you will not waste 2 months into penetration testing or 3 months getting a list of items to become compliant with this and with that, and then adapt. So and this is actually an engineering mindset that is called the bottom up. So you start from that and then you aggregate in a way that can succeed. Yeah.
So there are two areas I want to dive into then. First, quality assurance, and then, managing multiple vendor, because today when we want to design apps and when we want to design products, services, platforms, we cannot just do it on our own anymore. We need to work with many, and we need to make sure that what we are putting out there, as you just mentioned with your cybersecurity example, everything is to a level of security and a degree of customer compliance that allows us to scale and grow our businesses. So I wanted to know, can you elaborate as to how Lasting Dynamics approach quality assurance for an app, a point of view in one market, multiple markets, small company, big company, and how do you ensure that the technical perfection and the adherence to various international markets, and particularly regulations, right? Whether we are in the UK, we have the FCA, we are in Europe, we have different regulation. In Singapore, we have the Monetary Authority of Singapore. So how do you do that, Michele?
Well, so I will start from quality assurance itself. Okay, so the idea is to test the application in order to make sure that you will deliver something that is high end in the end, on the market. And the reason is that you want to prevent those very embarrassing situations in which imagine a mobile application or a web application where either an end user is blocked by fulfilling a basic functionality of the software, and what could be eventually the result of that from a marketing perspective. I saw tons of applications into the insurance field that have a 1 star on 5 feedback, or eventually pretty bad feedbacks on, and that comes from a wrong tech execution. Most of the time, okay, because it's the frustration of users that find the bugs and would actually deal directly with something functional that works like a charm. So the quality assurance is meant for that in tech companies, in software development companies, and it cannot be done by developers. You might be surprised to discover that nowadays there are still a lot of customers that tell you, and what is this quality assurance? Probably the developers should do that. No, you need a third party in the team that is not the code owner, that will perform a white box testing, black box testing eventually on the final product, and give a feedback, analyze it from many different angles. UI testing, user acceptance testing, the classic regression testing, performance testing, compatibility testing. How many times you can deliver an application on the market that works well on iPhone, whatever, and instead on previous versions of the operating systems, or on other operating systems or browsers, will not work as intended. That is something that needs to be taken in account, and it's not easy. It's challenging because the world is evolving, keeps growing. So you have to pay attention in many directions at the same time. Coming to the small, so most of the time for small, medium enterprise and startups, I would say that it is enough, to focus on having a good product, and then take all the time that is needed during a friends and family eventually release, to understand more about the regulations if you don't have already in-house knowledge about what you're doing, okay? Or what needs to be done. For large enterprises, it's easier for them, because of course they have departments entire departments with a lot of knowledge in specific areas. One of our customers has a presence in Southeast Far East Asia that extends among 12 different countries. So you might understand that, that as a software house, you can really actually not bring that much value, more than understanding their needs, and make sure that will happen in the best way possible, with a certain commitment. So quality assurance is also about analyzing the requirements. It's not only about executing, some tests. It's about understanding what will be needed and how this can be, provided. I would say that when it happens in Europe, the GDPR, it was such of a big, impact for everyone. We have been helping, I would say, majorly on PCI and the GDPR, a lot of customers becoming compliant, with the regulation, and keeping it up, because it changes. So you need to maintain it, and eventually, avoid mistakes that might cause a lot of pain. Yeah.
So it's interesting you actually mentioned GDPR, because, just a few days ago, I was again reviewing, the European directive around not generative AI, but around artificial intelligence, right? The artificial intelligence principle, which have all those words around transparency, responsibility, explainability, human in the loop, and so on and so forth. And so the question I have for you, Michele, is that, often in those projects, we have to deal with a lot of vendors. We have to deal with a lot of teams and address internal politics, and actually manage overcomplicated activity, right? Everybody wanting their pie, the piece of the pie, and fight their battles. So how have you been able to manage project of small or big magnitude and deal with all those people as part of the value chain?
Yeah, I call it the multi-vendor madness.
Love it.
So yeah, that's pretty hard. I would say that the most important part of the game is to be transparent and loyal to your partner or to your customer, and that always pays back in a way that you mentioned the political games. I saw many political games happening between companies that were trying to steal pieces of contract to others. I hate it, honestly, and the reason is that I like the idea that the most important goal and value for everyone on a project should be the final result of the product, and everyone should sacrifice a bit of personal, interest towards that goal. That's my biggest statement about this, in the way that I try to teach everyone in Lasting Dynamics to have this kind of mindset. And then in the years we understood that actually if you work hard and show commitment and demonstrate that you can bring value actually with your knowledge, your experience, with your skills, even ramping up some situations that sometimes are outside of the schema, so you have to adapt very quickly. And that is in the agile mindset, react quickly to the problem rather than trying always to prevent it. That's agile. And it paid back a lot in the way that customer started to trust us, to love us, in the way that they gave us more and more responsibilities. And what other companies might see as an upsell opportunity, I usually see as a way to reinforce what is our business model. We select few customers per year and we partner up in order to grow together. So when they grow, automatically, if it is also a bit thanks to us, then we grow too, so
Yeah.
so I don't see it only as an upsell opportunity. I see it as an opportunity to grow and learn a lot from another reality, from another companies. And this is what usually happened in other directions. One funny thing, that if you open Lasting Dynamics website, the first statement that you see, the header, the hero is quality software development. So if we decided to place that, statement as the first one you see when you open the website, probably there is a reason. And we have been working for several years with this customer, up to the point that they knew the quality at 360 degrees that we were delivering, from the code to the communication, the agile practices, the quick response, and many other aspects. And then another vendor just arrived, and in a meeting there was someone saying that the reason why they couldn't deliver something is because what we did on our side was not really high end, was not really good, and everyone was laughing at that meeting. Like, so if
because
you
they didn't know what they were talking about.
like this, this is not possible. This is this was their reaction. And then when they told me, I was not angry. I was just laughing, because if your goal is another one, and it's not just revenues and profit and whatever, then when this happens, there is a shield around you, because that you built with the commitment and with the results.
Indeed.
And somehow this propagates, to all the people also that work together on the project. In fact, most of the time we have a very good collaboration experience with other vendors and the in-house employees of our customers. And I can mention from Capgemini to Accenture, Sunrise. I can mention KPMG, a lot of companies we have been working with, and we were not really fighting. It was not really the intent.
Great to hear. And I think it's very important to understand that, the world we are living in, I have to say, Michele, is that more and more we are living in digital ecosystems. Is you do your bits, I do my bits, but we can only do better for our clients to work by working together. Right. So 1 + 1 = 15 actually nowadays. And you know your strengths, and I know my strengths, and I know that combining your your capability with my capability, we can deliver so much more, which takes me to do things, right? Adapting to client needs. And today, those are very active, continuously changing, and they cannot even fulfill the needs of their own customer fast enough because of the pace at which our world is changing. And another point you made is about managing client relationships. So caring for your client, understanding what they need before they need them. It's about not only focusing on the bottom line or the top line of what we'll get from the project, but always be committed to delivering value, right? The value exchange between the two parties. So I want to know from you, Michele, how do you think in a dynamic world we are in right now, right? How does internal team make the best decision and implement the best digital processes to actually deliver value, right, within the organization? And you, Michele, having worked now for over 10 years and build this business called Lasting Dynamics to where it is today, when you look at your customer profile, how do you manage, right, those relationships with the chief commercial officer, the chief customer officer, the chief customer experience officer, the chief digital officer, all those people today who are measured on delivering strategies which are super connected to the new world of tomorrow? And the reason why I'm asking you that question is I'm reading that book, actually, Michele. So last night I was reading that book around how you build a business from 0 to 100 million, right, sales blueprint in a very short period of time. And one thing which I post on is the customer. Filmography, demographic, and psychographic, how you align all three to define your customer. But I want to understand the answer to the question from you.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting topic actually. Lasting Dynamics is still highly based on revenues coming from the consultancy. So basically, we do the projects that we develop with our customers up to the point that we do not even define them customers. Unfortunately, it's hard to instill into the mind of people that a partner can be also customer, but we refer to them always as partners, never as customers.
Same here. And, I've used that term for a very long time. And for probably over 10 years, I never call my customer, I would call them partners because I want to be in an equal relationship with them. That's the only way I can deliver value. So
yeah, absolutely. That's the point. And comes from the business model itself of Lasting Dynamics, in which we decided to not, provide our services to 200 customers every year, but actually to focus on 10 new every year and have an organic growth. Someone tells me, what is an organic growth? Is a growth that comes with the time, with the patience. That's how I see it. And so the first thing that I say to everyone in Lasting Dynamics is a respect for our partners, because they know a lot, because they come from big experience. Most of the time they have we can learn a lot from them, and we can help them definitely. So usually understanding a client need is a unique technique and art, I would say, because you need to start from the ground point in which you admit that you really want to analyze their requirement. Why did he ask me this? What is the reason why they are doing that? Starting from understanding what is their internal process, what are they doing, why are they researching in this direction, why they want to develop this. That allows you to become a bit closer to their mindset, to their experience, to their discovery, because probably they discovered something you don't know yet, and help them with your know-how, with your tech experience, with your, I would say, cross-industry experience that we acquired actually in this more than 10 years, and bring value. So there is another big, huge point that made me fight with a lot of business developers in Lasting Dynamics in the years, okay? And it comes from the idea that for me, working with the partners means that we should never become salesy. In the very moment in which you are trying to sell something and you become a seller, then you lose all the value that you can bring to someone, because that is just a consequence, of you being able to help them realizing something. I have the knowledge and the experience. I can build the trust. Then there is, I can help you doing something. Then I sell you something. You cannot, revert to the process. Start from can I sell you something and then showing the value and arrive to the trust. No, that doesn't work. So we genuinely started from the idea that we can bring value, and we should keep bringing value every time, as much as we can within the limitations, that we might have, and make sure that we could improve a process, improve something that they were already able to do on their own eventually, or just solve one of their problems of their bottlenecks. That usually translates into gaining trust and creating personal relationships with most of the vice presidents or C-level positions in the companies we work with. I have even a friendship, a good relationship. We have been doing a lot of things together. They participate in our activities. We participate in their own activities. It's fantastic. You said something before. Going together,
Yeah.
I truly believe into that too. I really believe into that, but with the people that share the same DNA and mindset, and the constructive, mindset. That's the way.
100%. I think it's very difficult to change mindset when a world we are living in has been used to selling and recruiting salespeople. From my personal experience for the past 10 years, when I moved from working with big corporations to building an acceleration program, is what I learned is you are living and breathing partnership. You are living and breathing with corporations which are trying to improve their own businesses, corporations which might be startups or big companies as well. And they want to find trusted advisor, as you said. Trusted mean trust first, advisors second, people who are there to drive value, and then they can make good decisions. And by building the trust and providing value exchanges, then you actually build projects. And I never feel that I'm selling, actually, Michele. I'm always trying to drive value for those around me, which takes me to, I think, an important question, because I discovered lasting dynamics recently through a good friend of ours. And I want to understand, how do you help the organizations you are working with alongside the partners you are working with customize and build applications, white label application like you, I'm doing white label models. So, I push capability, and then no one really know that I'm doing this behind the scene. How do you drive value from white label solution customization? And how do the client receive those services and the flexibility and adaptability, and therefore continuously work with lasting dynamics?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the two kind of big projects we usually work on is either a custom software development, project that has certain, challenges and ideas behind it. Another one is definitely the what you mentioned, the white label solutions. So what is the idea behind that? Okay, why starting from scratch? Sometimes you really don't need it. And especially when big, large enterprises are approaching a digital transformation, you need to have some numbers. You need to prove something in terms of usability of the software and case studies that might be related to that. So one of the examples that I can give you is this insurance application. It's a module that we built from scratch that takes some of the best innovative features already on the market and puts them together into a super app that allows this way businesses into finance, insurance, constructions, real estate, and few others, delivering immediately the value of engagement, user engagement, because they have a problem with the retention usually, and they have a problem with the engagement in the way that, as I was mentioning before, the usage of the application is quite a cold experience, so coming back to the point, sometimes it's valuable to starting from something that already worked, that is already innovative according to what they have, and this way the whole product ownership part of the team can focus on which are the valuable integrations that we should bring in this module. Which of our products we want to connect with this digital product, and how can we further innovate it? So you do not start from 0, you start from 10. That means you can think about 11 instead of 1, and that brings a big value. White label solutions are usually, so this is a white label solution that we offer, for example, but we have been doing also in other with other products. But what happens usually is also that large enterprises, but even small, medium, and startups, I would say, might be interested in building a product that is versatile enough to serve also the partners among the same umbrella. Group of applications of companies that might require a similar application for different segments of usage might think to create an application that is a kind of a SaaS distribution, but then has a white label a solution for each vertical. Mm-hmm. And that brings a lot of value, because with one shot you develop 10 products, and that definitely reduces the costs and innovates quite a lot. I'm thinking now, in particular, to some of the modules that are part of this application that we developed for insurance world, and I can mention the streaming. That sounds crazy, but actually it works in the way that once you started to place your application on the stores, what happens is that you will be advertised under the carousels of gaming, because you have some mini games into the application, video streaming and entertainment, and a few others. If you have, I don't know, you can listen to podcasts through this application, or music, or eventually you can watch videos, fitness, if some of these videos are about fitness, and that brings immediate marketing value. Then what is the value that this might bring to the organization is that, of course, the users will spend more time on the application, because they have a lot of functionality they can play with. And this way, probably by not selling them directly, we come back to the point, we have a new offer. No, I'm not interested. Spam immediately. Yes. Buy. Instead the approach is that you offer something, they spend the time on your application. Eventually, why going and take the product from a competitor if I spend, I don't know, an hour per day or 30 minutes per day playing with this application? Then I will trust you and probably buy the product directly from you. You see the point? Yeah. And that's the value, that hopefully answered your question.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because you're so right that we are bombarded every day by offers, right? But people don't try to understand what you were saying earlier, the client needs, the need in the primary phase, or helping one play with something. And I've recently an experience of some company being so confident twice being so confident with their product, and said, Sabine, you need to test it. And I have a guest who tested it, but they didn't realize I'm an experienced tester. And I identified all the flaws with their product, and they are not even responding to my emails anymore, because they realize that there's a lot of work they need to do for it to be client focused, which Michele takes me in some ways to, we talk about developing application, leveraging the best of the best, right? To build the apps of the future. What's your view around managing in-house teams? Partly when they are across multiple markets and you are working often with teams across markets, particularly when you develop those solutions, which are cross geographies, cross countries. So how do you collaborate, right, with the internal teams, and how your team augment the internal teams to help them deliver the really best for their own clients?
I will start from the time zone problem. Okay.
Yes.
I would say that there is probably a lack of knowledge nowadays at the executive level, where most of the time they think that if they are in Singapore, they need the people in their time zone. If they are in USA, then they need people in their time zone. If you are in North Europe, then you need people in Europe. You cannot go there. You cannot. Okay, why? Why I'm saying that this might be a common mistake. The reason is that I would nowadays not. I would even say after COVID, but regardless that.
Regardless.
I would point out that asynchronous interaction exists since many years now, and is bringing a lot of innovation and the new possibilities to the IT process and execution, but generally speaking the market. And the reason is that we do not need to jump on a meeting for everything. We might need to synchronize, and that can even easily happen. If you are in Australia and I'm in Italy, and we have, I don't know, 10 hours of difference, we can catch up once in a week, or once every 3 days, even if we want to have a closer look to something. But we can keep interacting asynchronously with the Slack, with the Agile boards, all the workflow management systems that are out there. We have Roundrush, that is a proprietary software that we built that allows you to work in a team and cross teams by concentrating everything on the to-dos, on the tasks, on the items for the that are on the system, rather than being in need of talking with someone every time. Then said that the communication is still a big challenge, because as you know, sometimes you take something that is small like this and it becomes big like this just because propagation of information that happens in a wrong way, and that is scientific in the way that there are a lot of books that demonstrate that the information gets contaminated very quickly just because it goes through different people, and you have intermediaries into the communication. So the good balance, in my opinion, is between the synchronous and asynchronous communication, and this is what we do in Lasting Dynamics. We prefer the asynchronous interaction by using all the tools at our disposal and the practices, not only tools, so that we can always have a clear picture of where we are. We don't need to talk about what is the progress on this. We can see directly what is the progress. If everyone updates the statuses on Jira, let's say, or a Roundrush, and we can always avoid the bottlenecks if eventually we pay always more attention to what is almost completed rather than what is in to do. So finish first what is almost done and then start something new. And this way there is less micromanagement. That usually is the reason why people prefer synchronous communication and interaction. Okay, so this generally speaking solves the problem of the time. So then, of course, if you have a large project and you're managing, I don't know, a team of 1,000 people, it is strategic to deploy 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 people on site, so that will help gathering information faster. But is it necessary or mandatory? No. Is it something that helps? Yes, of course, but not always it is viable. Then I would say usually the another big challenge that you mentioned is the how the cross-functional teams interact, how the teams that will operate in different directions and departments interact. You have to understand that not always you can enforce a certain methodology and make all of them follow it. Okay, I would spend probably a lot of time explaining to someone from the marketing, the value of smaller releases, that is a practice of extreme programming. And I'm pretty sure that in the end, I would not add any value to them. So it's really, it's something that is really technical, and really into the software development. So probably the right way for organizing these teams is to make sure that everyone follows the methodology that suits them the most.
Mm-hmm.
And there is always contamination of information and communication. Very briefly, Brand Ambassador 2017, the marketing team was closing so many deals in a row, huge team. I loved it, sales and marketing. And the tech team was coding new features. And then their problem was communication between the two teams. Okay, so marketing didn't know what tech team was doing, and tech team didn't know what was happening on sales. And the conversations with the customer, etc. So very, very simply, I said, okay, from this moment on, we start with 30 minutes every day. We invest 30 minutes every day with the tech leads and then we rotate and the marketing team, and we contaminate each other. You talk about something happened today, you talk about something that happened today, and then you make questions. Then we started to rotate so that everyone could absorb a bit. A bit is always better than nothing, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened immediately after was we started to rarefy, these meetings, because they started to talk to each other autonomously without being in need of a team or of a meeting. Sorry.
That's super cool. No, it's cool because you are actually forcing, you call it contamination, but you're forcing teams which would have talked to each other naturally to talk to one another. And so realizing that there are similarity in the way they do things.
Absolutely. And they can absorb things from each other, and that can help a lot. And one example was deployment process. Marketing doesn't know anything about that, but it needs that in a way that by understanding the challenges, can the support team that talks with the end users can organize with the marketing team the newsletters and the updates that go out to everyone every time you roll out some features or you introduce a new innovation, etc. So it's needed. Everyone needs to talk, in some way they have to do that. Yeah.
Everybody needs to talk. And sometimes I think, Michele, is also, different. I mean, partly it's easier, right, if you have smaller team, but hopping across jobs and getting people in marketing to do delivery and delivery people to do marketing is, when you come from a consulting background where you had to deliver and then you also have to, as consultant, we used to deliver, right? And we could not be on the bench and we had to sell at the same time and we had to market. So consultant actually have to often learn 3 skill set: delivery, understanding what good outcome looks like for clients. So it's outcome centric. Then you need to actually achieve sales. When I was in consulting, the baseline target was 2 million, in addition to meeting your, not being on the bench. So you had to be utilized for 65% of the time. And then to be smart, you can't just sell. So you have to bring authority. So you need to understand how to do marketing. And then when you look at those skill set is what we need in business today, which is often missing, right? Because people tend to be siloed. But that cross-functional discussion or hopping across jobs allows people to be much more respectful of other people's roles. And also then having a broader value of how value is created for the customer.
Yeah, agree. And it's just because people sometimes get focused too much on what they're doing, then that they totally ignore what others are doing.
Yeah.
And it creates a discrepancy that needs to be addressed, and probably the communication is the best way to do it. But you will be surprised to discover how safe that I mentioned before is highly based on this kind of contaminations, highly based. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I was going to ask you my last question. We both know how rejuvenating ourselves is important, right? And nicely enough, we are in a summer month right now. And when this is going to be released, we'll probably be starting going back into the office. So how do you manage work-life balance? Actually, Michele, how do you build a big business like you have, fulfill your clients' need, and find time for yourself?
That's something that I learned late, I would say. Started from, giving everything. Was working 7 on 7, 12 hours per day, never stopping. I started as a freelance, and then we went from 1 to 120 people, actually, just without investor, and then investing, the profit of the company. And the way I do it now is not coming from me. I want to thank you, Bill Gates, for teaching me how to do that. And the way he does it, that is my way too, and I love it. Is that he discovered at a certain point that your mind arrives to a saturation point in which your creativity goes to zero, literally, just because you are consuming all your energy for problem solving. And so he started having a dedicated room in which he was, going and spending time just for thinking. And this room, of course, for Bill Gates became an estate at a certain point. He has this house, villa on the lake, and he goes there and he turns off everything and just reads books, and think about. And actually, he doesn't think about things. Solutions come to his mind. Okay. So for me, it's a bit different because unfortunately I'm not Bill Gates, but I would say that at a certain point I really work a lot in 8 months, 9 months, 10 months without any break, and then I take 1 or 2 weeks to relax. For me, relax is kind of literally not doing anything that involves my brain that much. So I totally turn off my brain and try to relax. That can be resting more, because usually we don't rest enough, and being in a pool or a seaside, having good food. I'm Italian, I'm sorry. So this is crucial. You're in Italy. And yeah, so good food, relax, and that starts to recharge my batteries, and ideas come to my mind, and usually that tiny periods of relax helps me affording 6-8 more months of work, 10 months of work, without stopping, and with a lot of new energy, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new initiatives that usually become growth for the company. And that is something that has a pros and cons, because in personal life, imagine my girlfriend dealing with the idea that I want just to relax on holiday. That doesn't really but I don't know if my model is something that can be used as an example, but personally for me and for my family, for friends that know me, it works. I would say that it works. Yeah.
You know what? I think we are a bit similar in that way, Michele. But yes, I mean, in Italy, and I'm taking the month off, and my inbox, I look at it, I don't touch it, right? And people are probably annoyed with me because they are not going to get any response until I'm back. But here is where I do the thinking and I do the reading. As I told you, I'm reading a few books right now. I am in a national park in a beautiful part of Italy, and I come here every year. And just before jumping in our discussion, I was literally sat outside with a little bit of music in the background, doing my stuff. And that is the way I relax. And like you, my husband is not always very impressed, because I do want to go to the beach and I want to sit by the swimming pool. I do not want to walk up the mountains. I just want to have me time. Partly like you, when you work 6-7 months in a row, you just need those 2 to 3 weeks to 4 weeks off to actually recharge your brain.
Yeah. I have a question for you. What was your lunch? You're in Italy. I'm really curious. I want to know.
So I had porchetta from Le Marche, right? Marchesian porchetta with nice bread. This is one of my favorites. And for sure, a bit of artichokes and some prosciutto della casa.
Okay. Top. I would say very good lunch.
Very original. And, I eat pretty much every day some truffles as well with my pasta. So, I'm trying to manage the weight. It's the best time actually for me to lose weight, drink a lot of water, eat a little bit of everything. But yes, I'm indulging as well a lot, Michele.
Yeah, truffles, I understand it. You just mentioned it and I'm already thinking about dinner now.
So tell us, where can we find you?
Come again.
So where can everybody while listening to this discussion, where can they find you?
If you want to follow me and learn more about lasting dynamics, just reach me out on LinkedIn, I would say. That is where I spend some minutes every day. So you can always have a chance to chat with me, and or you can send me an email. So my name is Michele Vittorio Cimmino. That is easy for me to pronounce, but probably harder to research. You can search for lasting dynamics, and then you will find me. And my email as well. Probably you should drop an email to info@lastingdynamics.com so that we can start any conversation. I also conduct a podcast, as you know, the Digital Transformation Podcast. We are at episode number 7 of the second season. Now it's going quite well. I'm happy. And so you can also follow us on social networks, and on any channel for podcast, and that's all.
I've been looking at it, and yes, fun, a lot of fun as well. So please make sure you look for Lasting Dynamic and find Michele Cimmino, right? And because I actually just put those 2 names and I can find you, Michele. You are findable actually on LinkedIn and social channels. And so what would be the last words of wisdom you want to share with our audience tonight?
I would just say to the youngest generations, this is something that is continuously happening because of our academy. So we usually train 200 people every year in the IT field. I would say to the youngest generations, do not have this kind of rush. Do not rush too much into becoming the super expert of whatever. Take your time to learn in depth. Start from the theory. I don't want to sound like the older guy, because when I was at the university, my professors were telling me that the theory was everything, and I was like, no, we need to understand more about the practical part. Try to find the right balance, because if you dedicate too much time just in coding, spending time on a particular technology, etc., then you will probably ignore software architectures, design pattern, higher level of abstractions that help you having a comprehensive mindset of all the of the overall IT scenario. So take your time for digesting well everything. Don't rush, and try to balance well between reading some books, some official documentation, and then putting in practice what you learned. Okay, so this is my message for everyone, and it comes from the bottom of my heart, because I'm in these days I've been repeating it a lot into the academies.
Awesome. Well, Michele, thank you for joining me on Scouting for Growth. Looking forward to listening to Lasting Dynamics podcast on digital transformation as well. And until next, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Ciao, ciao.
If you like this podcast, subscribe now, share with your friends, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a 5-star review. Also, if you want to cover any specific subject with me, contact me on Instagram under Sabine VDL Officials or LinkedIn under Sabine van der Linden. Thank you.